Right, well, there are plenty of other chords that we can be focusing in on to help us navigate larger portions of the fingerboard. So far, we've only actually looked at major and minor chords. I've shown you how to extend chords into sevenths, major sevenths. We can extend them to dominant sevenths, minor sevenths, add nines, minor nines. The list goes on. All you have to be aware of are basic formulas. The formulas that you should pay attention to are major chords are root, third, fifth. Minor chords are root, flattened third and fifth. Diminished chords are root, flattened third and flattened fifth. And then we just build on that. Major sevenths are going to have the major seventh note in them. A dominant seventh is a major chord, but it has a minor seventh note, which would be, say, taking the C major, making it major seventh. We drop the root note by a semitone to include the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, the 7. If we flatten that again, we get B flat. If I add that to our major triad, we get a dominant seventh chord, which is a much, bluesier sounding chord. And we can do the same with our minor chords. We can add the minor seventh to that and get a minor seventh. So C minor seventh, C minor seventh, C minor seventh, C minor seventh. You can see, I can play that one like that as well. You can see I'm just taking the same 5 shapes, and because I know the formula or the voicing of the chord and the formula of how to extend the chord, I look at the notes in the area and I can build from there. And this also opens up, the doorway for you to play much more inventive chord voicings that, you possibly wouldn't come out with. I had to do a little session the other day just playing in a band, and one of the songs that we had to play was by Jeff Buckley, who is renowned more as a singer-songwriter. But the chord voicings in this track were, lovely, open. Oops, minor chord at the end. Lovely, open-sounding chord voicings, which you possibly wouldn't come up with that kind of thing unless you understood, the voicing of the basic chord. When I'm looking at that chord there, that is actually a G chord, believe it or not. It's a G with a 6th. You've got B, G, D, which are the notes of the triad. There's another third, the B, and there's E, which is the 6th. So it's a great way of extending chords and coming up with much more interesting sounds. Sounds that you associate more with, possibly records that you would listen to. Anyway, for this section, I'm going to just spend a moment to talk about the harmonized major scale. And the harmonized major scale is very, very important. This is how we build chord progressions. This is how we find arpeggios that we can use for soloing. This is how we understand modes. All of this is building up to us finally covering the whole fretboard with scale shapes and sequences that enable us to move from one position to the next. But those sequences and scales are going to be pretty pointless unless we know what to play them against. Basically, a major scale has a formula. Starting from a root note, we have a whole tone, another whole tone, a semitone, a whole tone, another whole tone, semitone. And that is the formula for the scale. Now, if we treat each one of those notes as a potential root note, we have the notes of C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and C. If I play the notes of a C major triad, the root, the third, and the fifth, we have the notes of C, E, G, which if you look at that in relationship to the scale, C, D, E, F, G. I'm highlighting the notes of the triad. C, D, there's a note. It's basically every other note. So if we take that same idea and start from each note of the scale, say we take the notes in the C major scale but start from the note of D and go every other note, we get the notes of D, F and A. Start from the G note, we get, from the E note, we get E, G and B. Start from the F note, we get F, A and C. From the G note, we get G, B, and D. From the A, we get A, C, and E. And from the B, we get B, D, and F. Now, what I've done there is, in my head, obviously not on the guitar yet, I've constructed 7 different triads. Let's take a listen to those. First of all, we had the notes of C, E, and G. And we can hear that that is a major triad. Okay, it's a major third there and a fifth. Okay, let's take the next note, which was D. If we went over every other note, we had D, F, and A. Now you can hear straight away it's a much sadder sound. In the words of Nigel Tufnell, it's the saddest of all keys. Yes, it is D minor. If it was D major, you can hear that we've moved out of key. Starting from the E note, we had E, G, and B, which gives us an E minor triad. Start from the F note, we have F, A, and C, F major. From the G note, we have G, B, and D, which is actually the G major triad. From the A note, we have A, C, and E, A minor. And from the B, we have B, D, and F, which is diminished. Now get this into your head. Now listen to me play through those triads. You can actually hear me playing through the scale using chords, and it's referred to as the chord scale or the harmonized scale. Now at the moment I'm sticking to triads, and I moved one voicing of the triad all the way up the neck, but I could actually stay in smaller areas. I could play C, D minor, there would be my E minor, there would be F, G, there's A minor, there's B diminished, and then I'm back to C major. And I haven't moved as far as when I walked all the way up, and that's where learning the cage chords and learning the harmonized scale in the way we're about to learn it really helps. Instead of being stuck, you know, in one position or having to move one shape everywhere, I can combine the shapes and create much more musical changes between chords. And also, I just, like I said before, I have a greater knowledge of the neck. I'm not hacking all over the place. So what we're going to now do is, around our 5 C chords, we are going to play 5 variations of the harmonized scale. We're not going to use the triads because triads sound a little bit thin. What we're going to do is double notes up and form the full chord voicing. As we saw earlier on, there was our C chord. It's actually a triad, C, E, G, C, E. It's only 3 notes, but we double up certain notes within the chord to give a much fuller, richer sound. So I'm going to run through each position for you, starting from the C shape, the A shape, the G shape, the E shape, and the D shape. Okay, now we're going to play through our harmonized major scale in each position. This is the formula that you need to remember. Major, minor, minor, major, major, minor, diminished. Trying to do that without dropping my pick. Those are the 7 triads, which can be played as arpeggios, which we'll look at for soloing, and also can be used as chords to form sequences. They will also decide the names and the type of mode that you're playing, but that's something for later on. Okay, here we go. Open position, C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor. Here's a new chord for you, B diminished. 2nd fret of the A, 3rd fret D, 4th fret G, 3rd fret B. Quite a dissonant chord. It sounds like it wants to go somewhere, and that is because it is the leading chord of the scale. B diminished, back to C. Remember, keep this scale in your head and then listen to the chords. Okay, next position. C major as an A shape. D minor as a movable C shape. Root note on the 5th fret of the A. E minor as a movable D minor shape. Root note on the 2nd fret D. F major as a D shape. Root note on the 3rd fret of the D. G major, that's a full bar E shape root on the 3rd fret of the E. A minor, that particular shape is the G minor shape with the root note on the bottom E at the 5th. Now for the B diminished, I'm actually going to play an inversion. The root note would be here, but obviously I haven't got enough digits to play it. I suppose you could you could play some kind of weird voicing like that, which that's pretty tough. So I'm going to invert the chord and I'll play the 3rd fret of the D and the B, full fret G, and then my little finger's going to play the 5th fret of the D string. So it's got the minor 3rd in the bass, but you can, if I play the root note with my fretting hand, you can hear. Okay, so I'll run that again. C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C. So we've just played 14 chords, and we're only up to the 5th fret, and all in one key. So it's pretty good going so far. Now we're going to play C as the G shape, D minor as the A shape, root note, or the A minor shape, root note is on the 5th fret of the A, E minor as the C minor shape, root note on the 7th fret of the A string, F major is the C shape, root note on the 8th fret, G major as a D shape, root note on the 5th fret D, A minor as the E shape with the root note on the 5th fret of the A. Now for the B diminished, I play a slightly bizarre shape, but my thumb plays the 7th fret of the bottom E, little finger plays the 9th fret D, second finger plays the 7th fret G, and my first finger plays the 6th fret of the B. Again, that seems to be the nicest voicing and the easiest voicing in that position. So here we go, in this next position. So C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C. Next position, we have C as an E shape, and that's at the 8th fret. D minor, that's a G minor shape, root at the 10th fret. E minor, that's an A minor shape, root on the 7th. F major, that's an A shape, root at the 8th. G major, that's a C shape, root at the 10th. A minor, that's a D minor shape with a root at the 7th fret D. And the B diminished is a D shape, which is 9th fret D, 10th fret G and top E, and the 12th fret of the B. So I'll play that position. C, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, C major. Okay, into our next position, which starts with the C chord being played as a D shape, or like so. D minor is an E minor, root note on the 10th fret E. E minor is a G minor, root note on the 12th fret E. F major as a G shape, root note on the 13th. G major is an A shape, root note on the 10th fret A. A minor is a C minor shape, root note on the 12th fret. Again, I'm going to invert our B diminished chord. I could play it like so. Which, play it like that actually. Moved out of position ever so slightly. So that's 14th fret of the A, 12th fret D, 10th fret G, and 12th fret B. Or you could just play that much of the chord. We can add that E on the, the D on the top. There I'm inverting it, or I can stretch. That looks like an expensive chord. Okay, here we go. Run through the whole lot. So C major, D minor, E minor, F major, G major, A minor, B diminished, a little bit of a stretch, back to C. And then we're back to the position that we started in, but using the movable chord shapes. So we've covered a lot of ground there. A lot of the neck has been linked together by playing just 5 shapes and different combinations of them. And what you can then do is arrange these chords into different types of progressions. The most common progression that you learn when you first start to play the guitar is a 1-4-5. Chord 1, C. Chord 4, F. Chord 5, G. So that would be C, F, and G. Back to C. Next position, C, F, G, C, C, F, G, C. Next position, C, F, G, C. Next position, C, F, G, C. Okay, and I've been able to play that once again, you know, really being able to navigate the fingerboard very well, not just keeping everything in, you know, one position or having to move one shape up and down. We can obviously combine these shapes. Some of the chord shapes might not sound as nice as you know, other shapes in the family, so it's up to you to make that choice. One last exercise, or one thing that you should definitely be doing with these shapes, is we've just played C major through the harmonized scale in every position, and obviously I only played a 1-4-5 there. There's tons of other combinations of chords, you know, 6, 4, 5, 1, 2, 5, 1s. There's you know, lots and lots of different possibilities for you, and you should explore those at length. Take the harmonized scale and play it through cycles of fourths and go through every single key. Now, I'm not very good at maths. I'm sure the guys in the studio will be much better adding this up for me. And if you think about it, we play 5 positions of a key, which is 7 chords per key, so that's 35 chords in one key. And that's just straight triads, major, minor, and diminished. We haven't looked at any extensions with that. All you've got to do then is times 35 by 12, which gives you a lot, and that's how many chords that you should be able to play at the end of this exercise. So here it is in the key of F. So F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished, bit of a stretch this one, in the open position, F, or in the first position should I say. Next position, F, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished. Or we can do that big super stretch and back to F. F major, G minor, A minor, B flat, C, D minor, E diminished, F major. Okay, next position. F major, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished. There's the inversion of it because of the position the root note will be coming from there. Okay, next position, we'll go F, G minor, A minor, B flat major, C major, D minor, E diminished, and then we're back to where we started. So I've just managed to harmonise the whole of the F major scale, then go B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, G flat, B, E, A, D, G, back to C. And there you have all 12 keys, the harmonised scale in all of the positions based around the 5 shapes of the cage system.